Ahoy, you salty sailors. Time to raise anchor and set sail for your best scrawny life. Arr.
Alright, eastbound and down. We are headed for a fishing adventure at Lake Red Rock. But first, we need to talk about plants. Extinct plants, that is. Here's a pyretized lepidodendron root fossil. There used to be rootlets emerging from those nodules. And this scale-like pattern is the bark of the upright portion of the plant, the lepidodendron tree.
So we'll kick off our adventure with a good pirate map. So it's been a very dry summer. We've been in a drought for 3 years, and the upper part of the lake has an algae bloom. So we won't be fishing there, lad. The wind is blowing from the north-northwest, so we will find white bass close to shore off this point by the visitor center. Then there's another point that also had some fish, and the corner of the dam had some as well. So here's the point by the visitor center. I'll just let this run to just to show how low the lake actually is and how far out I have to wade to get to where the fish are. But the rest of the time we're just going to do a fade transition. Now it's marl. This point is composed of marl, and the rocks that are underwater are coated with algae, so it's very slippery. So it takes a minute to get out there. But here we go. First cast. And fish on. Fish on, brother. So we walk that one back in. That wind is howling. And it's not so big. It's, I don't know, like a 10 or 11 inch fish.
Here's the thing, when you're 6 foot tall and scrawny, you got giant spider monkey hands. It just kind of makes every fish look small.
Around the head, continuous motion cast, and right into a fish's mouth. Fish on. This might be a slightly better fish.
It's a little better. I'd call that a 12, a solid 12.
Right back out there, hooked up again, almost immediately. It's a nice fish. That one is nice. Big old cast. Doing the old double haul with the cast there. Big hook set. Big hook set, it's a running. It's peeling, reeling it in now. Could be a decent fish. great fish. Walking this one, slow walking it.
It's no two-hander, but on a 5-weight fly rod, that is a great fish. It's stuffed with gizzard shad. Look at the belly. I tell you to look at the belly.
All right. There's the other point. That's it, adjacent to the visitor center. A little bit deeper, it drops off a little steeper. Fish are right under that point. You saw the hook set was just like almost at my feet. Got a bit of a belly on that one too. The line is a type 3 full sinking line. And the reason you want that, people talk about catching white bass on the surface and stuff, but wind is the wind and not blowing in Iowa. You need that full sinking line to cast into the wind. And you want to drop, the fish aren't going to be right in the waves where they're just getting pounded all the time. They're going to be below that. So you want to just drop below that surface chop. Notice how the shoreline is straight and the horizon line is slanted. I guess that's just the gravitational anomalies that can occur when you're using a type 3 full sinking line. or sloppy camera work.
It's a decent fish. Former NFL referee, apparently, still has the uniform.
So that's what it looks like, brother. Living your best scrawny life. Lake Red Rock.
But stick around, because in spite of all the drought waning, we did eventually get a few drops of rain. And some mushrooms did come up, so we do have an amateur mycology segment, which we're kicking off with a good look at one of the most important mushrooms to know in Iowa, Amanita bisporigera, the destroying angel. It is a deadly poisonous mushroom. You'll notice the cap does not have the universal veil remnants that most amanitas have. There's a good look at the bulge or vulva around the base. And the stem, of course, has the classic Amanita ring. So smooth white cap, ring around the stem, and a bulb or vulva at the base. Sometimes it's a little hard to see. There's some species of Russula I couldn't identify. I'll have to cross-reference some other mycologists on iNaturalist.org. See if I can figure this one out. The cap cuticle is quite tough. There's a mycology word, right? It's pileus or something, cap over the cap. So the reason we're here, though, is the Hypomyces lactiflorum, the lobster mushrooms. Now, it's real interesting. This fungus is actually a mold-like organism. It parasitizes Russula brevipes and deforms it into these bright orange fruiting structures. But you'll notice the gills are completely missing, and the brittleness actually of the Russula has becomes kind of a crunchiness. Now that tree trunk, most people will recognize as red oak, and you can see how short its stem is. But this one is, I mean, it's not quite normal either. So I think it's probably fruiting from the same mycelium that's been infected with the Hypomyces lactiflorum. So on to the cooking. I attempted to do a steak and lobster, quote unquote. It didn't quite turn out. The steak goes in. A little bit of ghee. Normally you wouldn't use that much because mushrooms tend to absorb, oils and stuff like that. But these lobster mushrooms are a little bit different. Flour goes in, and a little bit of dark roux. That actually turned out to be kind of the one thing that saved this dish. I put some cooking wine in, which is kind of the mistake. I think some beef stock probably would have been better to build the sauce. But it did soften the crunch, not entirely, but a little bit of the lobster mushrooms. I think it would have been better just to do a plain saute instead of building a sauce. The kind of fruity flavor of the wine didn't really go that great with the mushroom. When you had it all together with the steak, it was pretty good. Like I said, that little bit of dark roux kind of gave a toasty flavor that tied everything together. But if you just ate the mushroom with the sauce, it didn't quite work. So we'll call that one a 3 out of 10.